I may not be a Halo YouTuber, but I am definitely a critic of this franchise. Over the years, I've earned my gamer stripes through Halo 3 and Reach. I was a 5-star general in Halo 3 multiplayer, screaming profanity at everybody and their mother in Halo 3 Lone Wolves, Big Team Battle, Slayer, you name it. Also, I grinded Halo Reach for about 10,000 hours, give or take, essentially flushing my high school social life down the drain to spawn kill kids in Big Team Battle and Invasion. I've also completed all the MCC games on Lasso difficulty. If that's not Halo virgin status, I don't know what is. But as somebody essentially who is born with Halo, I feel like I have a good understanding of what is good and what is bad in this franchise. I will come out and say this. The game that I saw displayed yesterday, that being Halo Campaign Evolved, actually really excited me, and it seemed like it actually excited everybody in the crowd. Before I get into my thoughts regarding the new Halo game, I just wanted to touch on 343, Halo Studios past. So set your time machines, because we're going to be looking back at the Halo Infinite reveal in 2018. That actually disgusts me just saying that, just because it's 2025 now and there's been 7 years that has passed since then, and I feel like I remember it just like yesterday. Just to make things clear, I'm not talking about the Halo Infinite Craig meme reveal, if you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the first reveal of Halo Infinite. I guess it was like a demo trailer or something like that, but we saw Chief wearing his OG armor from back in the Bungie days. We know now with the content lacking launch of Halo Infinite that yes, the OG Bungie era armor does earn you some brownie points with the community, but it does not in fact make a good game. Halo Infinite lacked content up the wazoo with core features that yes, played very good, but when there's not even a Slayer playlist when you launch, you got a big problem. Infinite's main issue was not at the core like Halo 5 was for a lot of people. It lacked the longevity that other games were producing in the market at the time and still are. Looking back on it now, the engine that Infinite was created in was a complete disaster. I don't know whose smart big brain idea was to have a revolving door of contractors coming in and out of the studio using an engine that no one has ever created in, and thinking that was going to be a good idea for a successful video game. It absolutely makes no sense to me. If we look at Halo 5's release, one thing stands out to me. That being the campaign was utter ass and still is the only campaign that I have not finished to this day from the Halo series. Characters were very forgettable. Main guy was, I don't even know, Warden something, whatever his name is, I don't know. He was very forgetful, and now you have Cortana wanting to destroy the galaxy or something. And still to this day, I don't really understand what the campaign leaders on that team were thinking when creating this pile of shit, because you are following up Halo 1, 2, 3, ODST, and Reach, and even 4, I guess you could say. 4, I don't even think was that bad of a game. It's definitely understandable why they essentially scrapped the whole entire storyline when Halo Infinite dropped. A lot of OG players were very salty on how fast-paced movement affected the game. Ground pound, shoulder charging, etc. I guess you can even throw a sprint in there, but sprint's been in the game since Halo Reach, so not really going to include that. Misleading marketing shared a heavy role in the criticism. Art style was fucking horrid compared to Bungie era games. Extremely limited customizations compared to Reach. I don't know if you've seen some of the armor inside of Halo 5, but man, it is horrible. I'm pretty sure Axeman made a whole entire YouTube video dedicated to this, and I recommend you go check that out. But another thing is do rec packs, man. Rec packs were one of the shittiest things ever added into that game, or any game. I think in terms of the whole loot crate epidemic that Halo 5 kind of fell into around this time, I feel like their system was probably by far the worst, just because we're essentially buying these rec packs to only be able to use certain items one time, and you're actually spending physical money for that. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but that may be one of the fucking shittiest scams I've ever heard in human history. Now, looking at Halo 4, I actually don't really mind Halo 4 as much as some people do in the community. I think looking back, people say that Halo 4 was a good game, just not really a good Halo game. Kind of reminds me of the whole Dark Souls 2 thing, being compared to the rest of the games. Like, I personally think that Dark Souls 2 is a good game in some regards, but not really a good Dark Souls game, I think Halo 4's biggest complaint for me is that the art style was complete shit. Just like Halo 5, the art style just was not it, man. I don't know who was over there cooking that shit up, but I yeah, I digress. I think this art style change was a pretty aggressive shift from the previous game, that being Halo Reach. And Halo Reach was a pretty aggressive shift from Halo 3, but I still think that it was a better shift than what we had from Halo Reach to Halo 4. I see this being thrown around a lot about Halo 4's art style, but I totally agree with it. The armor just looks completely plasticky. Like, everything looks completely plasticky or very, very oversaturated with too much sci-fi. I feel like they really shifted away from, I guess you could say, almost that gritty army realistic style that the old games had in it. For example, from what I mean by that is just go look at any Halo Reach armor, you'll see what I mean. When playing Halo 4, it seemed like there was a severe lack of weapons in their sandbox. When playing the game, I found myself using just the same exact weapons for every single encounter, that being long range, short range, medium range, it didn't really matter, and then finding the other weapons that were in the sandbox to be completely obsolete. Like, tell me, why am I using a DMR for close quarter encounters? Like, shouldn't I be using an SMG or something like that? Oh yeah, that's right, there wasn't even an SMG inside of Halo 4. The only weapons that comes to the top of my mind when it comes to close quarters are probably just a shotgun, and I think it was called the scatter shot, and I guess the energy sword, but you're not going to be finding those weapons every single time you play the game. You most likely are going to spawn with a DMR, battle rifle, light rifle, or just some sort of rifle, and you're not really going to be able to find those shotguns, energy swords, and scatter shots too frequently. For a lot of people, the story seemed very controversial. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I'll leave that completely up to you if you played the game or if you haven't. I think it's worth a playthrough because personally I didn't really mind it, but you're gonna have to figure out which side of the fence you want to be on when it comes to that. Now, I just wanted to touch on 343's mainline story games before I actually got into, I guess, this new remake that they're making. I know that the MCC and that the Halo 1 anniversary exists, but I don't really want to get too much into those. Just know that MCC was a complete clusterfuck when it first launched, and then Halo Anniversary is just, I guess, Halo 1 with, in my opinion, worse graphics. Now, to get into the spaghetti meatballs of this topic, the worst kept secret of 2025, Halo Campaign Evolved, is what they decided to go with. Yes, we did see a new Halo trailer yesterday at the HCS event. Yes, there are a lot of things to be excited about, but there's a lot of things to be very cautious or negative about. There are also a lot of things to be skeptical about, but I just want to start with the good things that I pulled away from the trailer. I think the start, the visuals are absolutely amazing. I mean, everything looks great. The art team really cooked with this one. I think my one complaint that I actually have was 343 has this weird thing with Forerunner architecture compared to what Bungie used to do. And it seems like the assets from Halo Infinite are being used here again. Now, the thing is, I don't think Halo Infinite's Forerunner stuff actually looks bad at all compared to some people. But I think to honor Halo 1's legacy, I feel like they needed to kind of dumb it down a little bit and kind of change it up. Maybe not use Halo Infinite's assets and maybe just make new assets that kind of match more of what Halo 1 was all about. Some of the things that really impressed me were the gun designs, terrain, Master Chief himself, the Marines' fucking faux hammer, and just basically all of it when it comes to the character models. I will say I'm not too big of a fan of 343 or Halo Studios using their assets from the previous game. Like, they're using their own elites and they're using their own grunts, and it just kind of feels a little bit out of place from what Halo 1 was originally. I gotta say though, man, that Warhog fucking kicked ass. That might be one of the best Warhog designs I've probably ever seen in a Halo game. Actually, I'm just gonna say it. It is the best Warhog design I've ever seen personally. I love how you can actually have 4 people on the Warhog at once. For anybody who doesn't know, they added like a back seat behind like the turret for another person to sit. Another thing that I personally liked from the trailer were the beaches. I loved how much the waves moved, how they would just creep back and forth over the beach. And I would love how much the sand would move whenever the Warhog was going right through it. You would see a crystal clear path right behind the Warhog, and I just found that really cool. I think the adding of the energy sword, battle rifle, and needle rifle, among a few other things, is going to add a very dynamic range to the sandbox and the game in general as well. I think it's going to add a lot more options than just using the CE Magnum for every single encounter. Hate it or love it, Sprint is making a grand return. I know, Sprint in a Halo game, that's absolute fucking blasphemy. But hot take, I never really minded it. I think we as Halo fans need to get over the past and onto the present. It's 2025, modern movement is here and it's here to stay. And it has been here for a very long time, as you guys probably know. Now, I will say for all the Legacy fans, you can remove these features that they are adding, which is fucking great, actually, in my opinion. You can change the placement of the grenade UI, you can change the radar UI, you can remove sprint, I'm pretty sure, and you can remove vehicle destruction, giving you more of that legacy feel. I overall think, in terms of giving people options, Halo Studios has absolutely nailed it on the head. Now, I feel like this is going to make or break the game, but they're adding additional content to it, which I love that because I think it's going to take place during a setting of Halo Reach. And me being a Halo Reach glazer, I think we may get some sort of Reach prequel with Sergeant Johnson and Chief. I guess we'll see how that's going to be playing out. I think it could be absolutely massive and add a lot more layers to the game, but I don't know how canon it will necessarily be. I'll leave that question up for Hidden Xperia or something to answer, but it definitely will not be me. But 3 missions on top of the original campaign will be very cool to see if they do it correctly. CE is already an amazing game as it is, so Halo Studios are going to really have to step it up and come to the plate ready to hit a home run. Last thing I'll touch on when it comes to the positive things is that we're actually getting a PS5 launch. I know. That's fucking crazy. All the Xbox fanboys are probably hyperventilating in a corner somewhere right now. But in all seriousness, this is actually huge for the franchise because it will finally give the PlayStation boys a taste of a great franchise and providing more player base to their future releases. Now, before I get into some negatives, and I want to hear your guys' opinion about this below, but I just want to say that I hope they do some sort of adjusting to the early back half of the game. I'm not a game developer, so I don't really know what they're going to do with the back half of the game, but I would switch some stuff up because it does get very repetitive and boring just trying to backtrack to those old levels that you already played through. To start off with some things that don't look that great, we have to talk about what people are saying about the test demo that's currently at HCS right now. From what I'm hearing through the grapevine is that it's a buggy and hitchy mess. And honestly, that kind of checks out with some of the things that we even saw just in the trailer the other day and the gameplay. Yes, I understand it's a test demo and we have probably around a year to go before we see a final product launch, but given their track record, I wouldn't count on anything, or at least I would be cautiously optimistic about the whole situation. Which brings me to my next point. Their track record isn't really the best when it comes to launches. I can still see myself bummed out from 2014 when the MCC wouldn't work. I feel like MCC was the title that broke the camel's back and really haunted a lot of dreams for a lot of fans. But let's just pray that we don't get something like that with this game when it launches. Another thing is, well, no multiplayer. I think a multiplayer drop with this game is what the community needs right now. Halo Infinite has been out for almost 5 years at this point, I think. And the only thing they have to show for it is a campaign. A campaign that we've seen about 4 times at this point. No, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know game development, but I feel like we should have at least a little bit more to bring to the table here than just a campaign. Especially when we have already had, like I said, 4 installments of this game. You would think we would have had, like, say, a Halo 3 remaster drop or something right now, but, Microsoft doesn't like money, I guess. I'm telling you, and I'm going to say this probably in the future, but Microsoft just released a Halo 3 remastered. Don't touch anything besides the graphics. Leave the ranking system, leave the armory unlocks, leave the campaign, leave the multiplayer. Leave it all alone. Just leave it all alone and you'll print money. Another thing that I hear people bitching about are the weapon sounds, and I've honestly been hypercritical to 343 in the past about this, but I feel like they should just adjust it before release, probably back to the way that CE sounded. For a lot of people, the weapon in question is, in fact, the Magnum. That thing needs to sound like a fucking hand cannon on crack. Also, a quick side note, please change the AR back to 60 bullets. I saw that they had the 32 bullets, which I think is a reference to Halo 3, but we're in Halo 1, not Halo 3. I want my bullet hose AR back immediately, and I hope that's something that they change. I'm kind of hoping that AR that they have right now is just a placeholder, but we'll see. The last thing I wanted to talk about is that they really need to keep in mind just the legacy of Halo 1, what it truly means, the story behind it. Now, this is a remake that they're doing, adding all sorts of new graphics, mechanics, even missions now, but I feel like we may find ourselves in a situation of too much being added, which I feel like will destroy the legacy and just the overall feeling of what the original game stood for. Anyways, those are just some of my initial thoughts of the game from the trailer that we saw. I have a lot more videos planned for the future. Gaming commentaries, talking about life, unserious stuff, just a wide spectrum of videos. And overall, just learning this whole YouTube game. If you like the sound of that or just want to use my sweet voice as ASMR, then subscribe. I may be streaming some Arc Raiders here in the next few weeks once I can figure out how to actually stream, because again, this whole YouTube content, whatever, right, it's all new to me. But I think getting in some games with some viewers would be pretty cool, man. So let me know your guys' thoughts. and your opinions about this whole Halo thing down in the comments, because this game means a lot to a lot of us. So yeah, until the next time, guys, I'll see you later.